If you've ever sat down to define your target audience for your business and ended up with something that sounds like women between 20 and 60 who enjoy self-care, dogs, long walks in the park, then yeah, you're broad, but you're also not alone in that.
In this episode, we're going to skip past all of these concepts and theories, and we're going to get real about how to actually find your audience using common sense. And we'll talk through what to do when the people that you thought you were selling to, 20 to 60-year-old ladies who like dogs, aren't actually the ones who are buying the thing. I'm Janae.
And I'm Brooke, and this is the Big Bad Marketing Podcast. We are two women running a marketing agency who know what it's like to build something from the ground up.
This is not a podcast about how to scale to 1,000 employees or advice from billion-dollar founders who are light years ahead of where you're at. This is a show for real small business owners, the financial planner, the leadership coach, the HVAC tech, the athletic trainer, the ones with small budgets and busy lives, but a big dream to build a real sustainable business that actually supports their lifestyle. If you want to DIY your small business marketing on a budget, you are in the right place.
Let's
Let's
do
do
this.
this.
All right. In this podcast episode about finding your target audience, we are going to cover how to use data and the existing customer base you already have to figure out who is actually buying your product or service. We're going to talk about using critical thinking and common sense, which is not so common anymore, to map your marketing efforts to the right channels, both online and offline, and figure out at what point in the user journey people are buying and where they go to search for solutions to the problems that they're having. And lastly, we're going to talk about where your ideal customers are hanging out online and offline and the best ways for you to approach them at the right time to get them to buy the thing that you sell. So, Janae, this whole thing came about because of a networking event, right?
Oh, yeah. So I was at a networking event and I was telling people about what we do. And someone asked this great question. I said, we help small business owners map out their marketing and then find their customers, help their customers find them, right? It's like both ways. And they're like, oh, how do you do that? And I was like, oh, great question. First of all, we come with years of industry experience. We have a lot of insight and knowledge and expertise about different marketing channels, about how they work together, online and offline, right? To create that cohesive brand strategy and approach of beautiful, amazing marketing that we're always talking about. But it's not just that, right? The thing that sets us apart, and the second part of the answer to this question is we use common sense. And exactly to your point, Brooke, like people aren't necessarily bringing common sense around anymore. And let's say it's like a dual duty of common sense meets critical thinking. And so the way that that shows up here and what we're trying to get at is like we help you think critically about what you sell and who is interested in buying those things. And that's a buyer's persona, right? But then we're going to weave in the common sense to think about how are those people that you actually sell to searching for the solution that you're offering? Where would they look for that solution? And aside from actively looking and searching for the solution, where are they just hanging out? Like what platforms, if digitally, are they using? Where are they going in person? Who are they talking to? And at what point in their journey toward of having this problem and needing a solution do they realize that they A need a solution, and then B that your product or service could solve it? So they're starting to think about, I need to solve this problem. How am I going to do that? And that's all the stuff that we, sit down and we have a conversation to help business owners really figure it out. Like it's not rocket science and it's not based on spreadsheets and data, right? Some of that is involved, yes, but this is like a real practical nuts and bolts question of who's buying your stuff and where are they and when can you find them and how?
Yeah, and this is not an isolated question that you got at that networking event. Like this comes up in conversations for us all the time. It's one of those recurring themes where people just keep asking us the same questions over and over again. And one of my favorite recent examples is I sat down with someone who is a real estate agent and they told me I need a like comprehensive social media strategy. And I was like, "Oh my gosh, okay, cool. Sounds great. So tell me a little bit about where your customers are coming from and how you find them." And they said, "Well, like 70 to 80% of my business comes through my referral network and through in-person events." And I'm like, "Okay, so do you really want to pour all of this time into social media when maybe we could like double down on the things that are already working?" And then more importantly, buying a home is one of the biggest decisions of someone's life. So if we think about it from a common sense standpoint, odds are good that they're going to pick someone that they trust, maybe someone they've met before, maybe someone that is a trusted recommendation from a dear friend or family member. Like it is such a network-based transaction that it is almost like, okay, sure, you can show up on social if you want to, but I wouldn't dump a bunch of time and energy and money into doing that when the actual place that your customers are finding out about you is through their people. Like I would just spend more time getting in front of people. And that's just one example from the people that we talk to. So it is so important for business owners to just take this step back and think about how people are buying from them and who has already been buying from them. Like the data leaves clues. Follow the data toward how people are actually finding you.
Yes, it's breadcrumbs. It's literally that
Totally.
there are breadcrumbs here for you to follow. And that's why we phrase it in a let's work backwards to identify the best ways to reach the people who we already know are interested in this thing. And this is the place they're going to be hanging out. And that's where it's like, it's so simple that it's stupid. What's that acronym of like, keep it simple, stupid, KISS?
Yeah.
Like, that's what it is. And so often it comes to us from business owners in this overcomplicated way where they're like, here's all our user personas and here's all this data and that data. And that's fine and it's helpful, but it's also taking it so extreme into like algorithmic data and formulas and numbers instead of being like, I wonder if some of these people are like shopping at the grocery store sometimes, and that's when they realize they need the thing you sell, or, whatever it is. But it's like the working backwards really can help you identify the right channels, the right time to reach them, and use real data to support the marketing decisions you make. Because
Yeah.
the other side of this is people, and we say this all the time, come to us, they're like, I need to be on social media. I want to be on social. And we're like, okay, great. Let's talk more about the product or service you sell and the pain points that you're addressing for your ideal customers. And as we kind of unwind through that, again, a common sense conversation, we're like revealing that social maybe is not the best place to be. It's a big buzzword and it's a great place to literally socialize, but it may not be the best place for you to start with your marketing.
Yeah, totally agree. So I do want to quickly drill into some of these reasons why things get overcomplicated because I think if you were to just sit down and say, okay, I need to define my target audience, and you go to ChatGPT and you say, help me define my target audience, like there are some things that are going to come up, questions for you to answer, things like that. And I think that's how we come up with these ideal client avatars, these ideal customer profiles. If you're a B2B, the ICP is a huge thing. And sometimes those are s- kind of on the mark. Sometimes those are really like dreamer type of things. Like, this is who I would love to be selling to in an
Mm-hmm.
ideal world. Like, I would love to, for our marketing agency, like, sure, we'd love to work with businesses making over $10 million a year that actually have a big freaking budget to pay us. But, like, that's not the reality of who our target audience is and who we're going after. So, what are some of the reasons why this gets so overcomplicated?
Well, I think that people lean into these like data structures and they're looking at a Pinterest board that's showing all the mood and the characteristics of an ICP, the ideal customer profile that's not a real person. And so when we create user personas, the idea is that we are making concrete a fictionalized character. And if you're just starting your business and you haven't made any sales, that's going to be hard. And you're going to be doing that dreamy, inventive thing. And that's okay as a starting point, right? But ideally, this is something you're going to visit on a regular basis to make sure that the marketing and the messaging you're sending out actually targets people who reflect people who really buy your stuff. So it's like thinking, let me pause. Okay, there's another angle here, which is like thinking you are your audience and like you are the best equipped to serve the person you used to be because now you've been there, you've been the person on the mood board, and that's how you created it in the first place. But that's going to change over time. That's the point. Is like over time you have to keep checking in and make sure you're still targeting the right person at the right place.
Yeah, totally agree with that. And another thing that we see is businesses that have not one, not three, not five, but like 10 personas that they're trying to target because there's the concept of we don't want to leave money on the table. So by wanting to talk to everyone, you're actually talking to no one. And we should link to our user personas episode in the show notes because I think that would be really helpful for people to understand. So, maximum of three of those personas, but make them specific. And Janae, to your point, make them about the people who have actually bought things from you. So, yes, this sort of visionary dreamer idea of this ideal person that is fine to start from when you have never made a sale before. So when you were a brand spanking new business and you're just sort of like, I speculate this might be the type of person and this is who I'm going to try and talk to first. Then when people start buying, you take it back to the drawing board and say, okay, you know what? I actually thought it was this problem that I'm solving. I actually thought it was just that people didn't know what to do with their marketing, but come to find that they just don't have the time to do it and they want somebody to completely do it for them. And that's a pivot that we've had to make at Big Bad Marketing in terms of our user personas and the problems that we're solving. So I think that that's pretty common. And then just getting really vague, like the
The
women.
opposite problem.
Yeah, the opposite problem. You're not so oddly specific, but you're just so super vague that you're like, oh, women who like dogs. And it's like, okay, well, that's nice, but that's also a lot of people. So just trying to, niche it down a little bit where you can.
Sure, sure. Because the other effect of this is being so narrow that you're dreaming really big, let's say, and that comes across as vague sometimes in the personas that come out of dreaming and being sort of ethereal in your approach. But the other thing that that does is really narrow in the possibilities of who might be interested in buying from you in a way where you're blocking out a whole market segment of people who might be interested, but you don't ever talk to them because you're just kind of discounting them because they don't fit into that very specific ideal customer profile you have.
Yeah, agreed. And an important thing about this is being open to it being someone else and not what you originally thought or what you want for it. So you kind of have to hold it a little lightly and be willing to pivot when new information becomes available and when data comes in to tell you something different.
Yes, we're often like, don't make vibes based decisions. And this is no different. I think there's a nice happy medium here of like, use that dreamy ideal state, but also pair it with like what actually works, which is a really good segue to like, what is your data telling you as far as who are your ideal customers? So, Brooke, can you walk us through a little bit about how to think about data driving your decisions when it comes to ideal customers?
Yeah, so a couple questions that you can ask, and then a couple places to look for the answers. So ask yourself, where are your current leads coming from? How do your prospects find you? If this information is not readily available, you better start asking for it. If you ask no other question of someone when you pick up the phone or hop on a call with them, if you don't already know, and for early stage businesses, ours included, a lot of our leads come from personal relationships and one-on-one interactions that we've had. So when a call gets scheduled, we say, oh, okay, I know this person through XYZ, or somebody texted me and said this was coming our way. And that's amazing. But at a certain point, you will begin to get organic traffic from people that you do not know personally or through your network. And it is so super important that you ask them how they found you. So whether that's on your web form online on your website, or you just verbally ask it to them when you connect, especially for service-based businesses and especially for small businesses who have a lot of marketing efforts going on at once. It's like you've got your email newsletter, you're also on social, you also did that event that one time, you also have your referral program, you have all these different things. So you got to know where things are coming in. Um, Also, look at who's engaging with your content and then in turn, who's actually buying from you. So, where are your customers buying from? And if you can track that back. Now, that can get a little bit dicey. Attribution is one of the hardest things that we do in marketing, but tools like analytics from your email platform, analytics from your website, Google Analytics, Instagram Analytics, like you can sort of put together the pieces in a way that makes sense, or you can also hire a marketing agency to do that for you if that is a serious problem for you. But ultimately, what you're trying to do is figure out, is this vision of who I am marketing my business to aligned with the people who are actually coming in the door? Connect them.
Yeah, because that's the place where once you have that kind of figured out, that's where the common sense can start to come in. Because now you are no longer, let's say, chasing after some sort of made up thing. And instead you're like, okay, once you drill down and you've gotten real about like who the actual people that are buying your stuff are, now you can use your backwards thinking, use your critical thinking to figure out where you're going to find them, how you're going to talk to them. Because at the end of the day, there are often differences in the people we think are going to buy our thing and the people who actually buy our thing. And there's this funny quote. It's like, you might think you're targeting high end corporate clients, but if 9 out of 10 people filling out your contact form are solopreneurs looking for help, that is actually your audience, right? It's not actually the high end corporate clients. It's the entrepreneurs, the solopreneurs, and it will behoove you to start marketing towards those people who are continuously raising their hands and saying, "Oh, this is what I want." And it's even if it's not the people you thought it was going to be.
Yeah. And it can be sometimes hard to accept when those things do not align. And I mean, from personal experience here at Big Bad Marketing, when we initially started this business almost a year ago, our entire plan was to do a like marketing consulting coaching for very small business owners. And we're going to do the podcast and we're going to do everything in service of this very small, like brand new business owner, less than $100,000.
We will empower you.
We will empower you. And then, Janae, what happened over time?
The demand came in different than the content and the products and services that we were aiming to sell. And it wasn't very small business owners making less than 100K who were raising their hands and saying, "Yes, I need coaching. Yes, I need this strategic consulting that you offer." It was regular businesses, people who were like, "I'm running this business. I love what I do. I don't have time to market it. And I also don't have the expertise to do that. Can you just do that for me? I want to keep running my business and I want to get more leads coming in. And I don't want to have to be in charge of getting those leads in the door."
Yep, exactly. So we had to pivot the agency side of what we do to more of a done for you retainer style marketing agency. And that was never our initial plan, but the data and the demand dictated that we do that. And ultimately, as a business, you have to follow the money or else you no longer have a business. But the beauty of it is, with this podcast and blog platform, we can still serve that initial audience that we wanted to serve. And we can do it in a way that now almost makes more sense because we have all of this hands-on experience from the clients that we're serving. So it's almost more valuable to you, the audience of this podcast, that we had to make that pivot. But it was a bit of a forced pivot and it was hard conversations about like, that sort of goes against this ideal vision that we have, but you know what? That's what needs to be done. And you might have that same thing happen, and especially in the first year of owning your business.
Yes, and that is all of that happening. First of all, it's something we talk about all the time, which is like, we're going to do something. If we're going to tell you to do something, we're doing it too. So this is like literally comes from our own experience having done this. But it's given us now the opportunity to use this common sense method to say, hey, okay, here's some data about real customers that we have, real people with holding up a wad of money, like, I want to pay you to do a thing. And now we can say, okay, here's a little bit of a pattern. Where can we go to find more people like that? Where are people just like that hanging out who've got a big wad of money and want to give it to us? Where are they searching for it? Do they know they need to search for it? Where are they just hanging out that we can show up with like a hi banner, right? So this is where that common sense piece really gets to come into play because now we're like, now we know who our customers are. Let's go figure out where they are.
Absolutely. And if you're into common sense marketing that actually works, like the kind of stuff that we wish someone told us when we started, then you will love our monthly Big Bad Marketing newsletter. It is a once a month thing. We come to you with helpful, entertaining, or truly funny things to help you market your business smarter. So if that sounds interesting, head to bigbadmarketing.com/newsletter to sign up and then check your inbox for our comprehensive list of marketing levers as a thank you bonus. And if you are not aware of that lead magnet/freebie that we use, it is good stuff, chock full of value that will get you up and running if you are like, I don't know how to market my small business.
Oh, yeah. And that's literally why we started doing this because we want to help real people who are like hands in the air. I don't know how to do this. So we're like, how do we provide value? We give out lots of free content, just like this podcast, which is where that common sense question comes in of like, our actual customers aren't, or our ideal clients based on the data aren't listening to this podcast, right? This is a different group of people. And so that's how we're starting to brainstorm and zoom out and say what makes sense for each audience. Do we have different avatars? Where are they? So this is like a really big push towards the first point, which is start with what you know. What is the common sense telling you?
So, what problem you're solving can be a really great place to start. So, if you have a product or service, you are offering that in service of solving a problem, or at least you may not have thought of it in that way, but you are, right? Like if you are a hairstylist, you are helping someone with their problem of my hair feels long and nasty, and I just want to feel better about myself, and whatever.
Oh, so many problems, so
So
many
many,
pain
so
points.
many problems, self-confidence, all sorts of things. But if you're not thinking about it in that context, it's going to make it harder for you to market to the right people because people buy based on emotion, right? Like, I have this problem, it makes me feel some type of way, and I am ready to get it solved. And I was watching a documentary yesterday about The Biggest Loser. Did you watch that show when it
I
was
didn't.
on? Oh my gosh. I watched it religiously with my mom. And then when I went away to college with some of my friends from college. And in that, they were saying, because concept of it is we're going to take these people who are overweight and we're going to help them lose a lot of weight at this like sleepaway camp, basically. And they said, but when we were trying to get people to participate, we weren't just looking for people who are overweight. We were looking for people who are overweight and deeply unhappy about it. And so that was sort
Mm,
of the metric that they used to say, okay, these are the people that we want because that is the catalyst for change. So if you are a fitness instructor selling your services, those are the types of things you need to think about is like, what emotions are these people having? Like, I am actually solving the self-confidence issue. I'm not just solving the weight loss thing. So it can go a lot deeper than what you initially think.
there's so many layers. It's like
So many.
ogres are like onions and they have
Mhm.
lots of layers.
Yes, they do.
No, but for real. And even this, maybe we're framing this whole episode as like common sense, because to me, that is the common sense is like, okay, what problem are we solving? Let's make a little diagram and think of all the different problems that are solved by getting your hair cut. And then we work again another layer in of like, what are the feelings and the pain points that we're addressing through that? And there's so many. And that's why, okay, for us as example, we're like, one of the things we're really solving for people or the pain points we're trying to address is you are overwhelmed by marketing. But that's not the only one, right? There's another one. It's like you're burned out by marketing. You've been doing it too much and you just need someone to take it off your hands. Or there's the one that's like, you don't have enough money to do the marketing that you think you need, right? There's like an endless list here. And the point being is like the deeper into that you can take the thought experiment, the more information you have to build really good targeted content to reach the right people. But that's the step most people are missing. And for us, I think it's become, let's say, second nature instead of common sense. Like we just think, okay, yeah, now we have to go back a layer, peel back another layer. And what's after that, right? We don't just stop at the first one. And many people are just like, I didn't even know I needed to do that. I thought I just needed to go on social media. I don't know who I'm talking to.
Yeah, so talk a little bit more about figuring out where people are hanging out, like where are your customers hanging out, online and in person.
Sure. And I think that's just it is like, okay, you've got an idea of like who is the person that you are solving the problem for. And then it's literally just put yourself in a thought experiment of being in their shoes. Like, what is their day to day life like? What kinds of experiences are they having on a regular basis? Where are they going to shop? Where are they getting their news and information? Who are they hanging out with and where? Right. And this all applies both to digital and print media, but also like in real life, are they going to the grocery store? Do they hang out at the local like restaurants? Are they part of a community of people? Are they in a networking group? Do they play sports? Right? Like these are all kinds of psychographics, demographics, different things that you can kind of pull together and extrapolate to help further your sense of a real avatar of a person, and then use your common sense to be like, okay, we help athletes. We're a personal training, excuse me, a physical therapy. I always get that mixed up. PT. I'm like physical training, physical therapy, and personal training are all PT. Okay, we do physical therapy for athletes, right? Like you're solving pain problems for athletes. Well, where are athletes hanging out that have pain? Like they're probably on sports teams locally or club teams locally, or they might be interacting with a chiropractor or someone else in a health industry trying to get some support for their pain, other doctors, right? So, like, these are the kinds of things you would want to think about to help lead you to a pot of gold where a bunch of people with that problem are hanging out.
And then once you start to implement marketing efforts in those places or with those profiles or channels in an online world, you got to figure out if it's working. So then again, it comes back to how did you hear about me? And if someone says, oh, I got your name from my chiropractor. Okay, amazing. Ding, ding, ding. I need to reach out to that chiropractor and thank them. And I might need to pour time and energy and effort into this relationship. And I might need to tell them about my referral program. And like, then how can I build on what's already working? And that is like the full circle experience of all of this is figure out who your people are, the problems that they're having, where are they going, how can you solve it, and then full circle. Okay, they
Yeah,
came
it's a
from here.
holistic,
It's a
yes.
yeah, it's a
And
whole
it's a
thing.
feedback loop.
It
And
is.
this is also where it's important to understand, are people actively trying to solve this problem, or do you solve it in a way that maybe they don't even know exists yet or need to be directed and pointed to? Like a pharmaceutical actually comes to mind just because I always see those commercials on TV. I don't know if you ever, I'm sure you've seen like 10-minute
I have so
pharmaceutical
many.
commercials and
Yeah.
they're like this. And yeah, we won't go down that rabbit hole. I'm
Yep.
just saying they're like trying to reach a broad audience because we don't know who has this. We don't even know where they're hanging out. Let's just show it. Um,
And when
but
you have enough money to do that, you can just dump on every marketing channel ever and not even worry about it. But that's another thing. Go on.
yeah, we have lots of opinions about that. Okay, what I'm trying to say is like if you are solving the physical therapy need of someone who's injured in a sport, but they're not really aware that they have a problem yet, right? Like maybe it's that they're like, oh, I'm gonna just go to chiropractors to get some support. The chiropractor might be able to diagnose them with, hey, actually, you need physical therapy for this, right? So it's like, do they know that they need your service? And if they do they know how to find you, and are you showing up in the places they're hanging out? And if they don't know that your product or service exists, how are you going to find them anyways and educate them that you exist and that you can solve their problem? And this is where we're like, I mean, I just have like this big cheesy smile on because I'm like, this is what gets our brains turning. And I'm calling it common sense. We are like saying this is common sense, but there's so much practical thought here that it seems common sense. However, this is marketing. This just like is in a nutshell the multifaceted experience of marketing and saying, okay, we need prints and we need to reach them on social and we need to email them and this and that. And there's so many things working together to help you push your product service forward.
Yeah. And even if you are a small business owner who does not know a lick about the marketing as it pertains to what comes next, right? Like the now I need to develop the collateral, now I need to go do the social post. Even if you know nothing about that, you are the best person to do the first part of this exercise. Like you know your business the best, you know your product or service the best, you know you the best, especially if you are the service. And you can ask all these questions and figure out who you like the problems that you're solving. Where are people hanging out? Like these are thought exercises that you can do no matter how little you understand about marketing or the skills required to actually do marketing afterwards. So if you do nothing else from this episode, just take a minute to do the common sense part of what problem are you solving and what is the logical conclusion of where people are hanging out. And that is going to serve you so well as you explore all of your next steps when it comes to your marketing.
There really are formulas here, and I'm realizing like just a simple outline of how to do a marketing process and the journey of mapping marketing for your business, like I think for us has become so simple formulaic, but a lot of our listeners are just like, I don't know. And so that's really what we're doing here, helping you figure that out so you can do it yourself, and even on a small budget, even if you don't have that much time, but allow yourself the grace of this is simple. This is common sense, and I can do this, and I am the most qualified because I know the most about my product or service. And something else funny that came from that networking experience was like the other business owners who were also there to pitch their thing and talk about what they do. A lot of them also didn't know how to articulate or speak about what it is that they do in a way that I was able to understand. You know, I'm whatever, like I could not really understand it. And even when probed with questions, I still was feeling like I'm not clear who your audience is, I'm not clear what the product or service you sell is, and I'm not clear what problem it's solving. And so if you can just take that step, which in essence really is like your elevator pitch, right? That's just like a simple clarity of your offer and then putting it into a clear elevator pitch, like that is going to take you leaps and bounds further. And then from there, that's when you can start doing this thought experiment about, okay, how should I be talking to people? What are they buying? What do they need? Right. And it's just like this long linear process to being able to target the right people. And it's not going to happen overnight.
Yes, that's the truth. And so, about time to wrap up this episode. I think we've got a couple key takeaways that you can remember. So, number one, your audience isn't who you want it to be. It's who is willing to buy your things and who is already buying your things. So you might have to drop the idea of the dream avatar and actually go with what is real. Number two, start with the problem you're solving, not the person you want to sell it to. The people will come when you touch on the pain point of the problem that they need solved and the emotions that is causing in them. And then number three, you will get clearer as you sell, but not before. So if you are refining your avatar, your user persona, your ICP over and over and over again. And oh, I don't know. Do you think she likes blue or pink? I don't know. Do you think that she is 10 years into her career or 15? Like these are such small potatoes because once you actually start doing the thing and making the sales, it will become apparent.
It will reveal itself.
It will reveal itself. We say that all the
Your
time, don't
customers will
we?
reveal themselves. Oh, yes, they will unearth and they will be revealed to you.
Yes. Yeah.
So, okay, if you right now are feeling a little bit less stressed or maybe more clear about how this process works, about how to niche down or sort of the why and the way to do that that's effective instead of counterintuitive, let's say, subscribe to this podcast. We're going to keep coming at you with really useful information that is practical and actionable so you can now go and common sense think your way to who your people are and how to sell to them. So subscribe to this episode. And if you know someone who's going to get value from this, share it.
Love it. Common sense first, people. You can do it.
Let's do this.
Thanks for listening.